Hello, and welcome to A Star to Steer By. This is Cyrus Ramsey, the ghost of course. And today we'll be discussing 2 episodes of Star Trek Enterprise. I am joined by the ghastly
Chris, the young priest.
Neat. This is Ames and I'm scared.
I was hoping that Jake was going to give me an adjective.
the woman.
Not
The
an
women!
adjective.
Caitlin.
Shit, I need an old priest if we're gonna exercise this guy.
Caitlin, the old priest.
There we go.
There it is. Ghost shit.
Ghost shit. Boo!
Hold on. I feel my molecules reassemble.
Oh no!
Oh my god, it's like that
Oh my
scene
God.
from Star Trek The Motion Picture.
Wow, thank God. Thank God it was all a dream. Oh, God.
Oh, God. Right, I forgot that I hated that episode also. I was so caught up in my dislike of the second episode that I forgot how stupid that episode was. Oh, tell us about it, Jake.
Well, yeah, anyway, so that was Cyrus who had taken over my body with his molecules, or I don't fucking know. But anyway, so we are talking about 2 episodes of Star Trek, The Enterprise, and the first one is Vanishing Point, and the second one is Precarious, whatever.
Every fucking week with this.
Something cargo.
Precocious.
Precocious
Pretty sure it's
cargo.
precocious
Actually,
cargo.
that's accurate.
That's actually what they should have called the episode where Trip got knocked up.
There.
Oh,
Oop,
Caitlin
dog.
just
dog.
got dogged
you
in
guys
the
just, I
face.
just got, yeah, he just pawed me right in the mouth.
What a dick.
I know.
Oh, but he's so cute.
He's
Yeah,
perfect.
So anyway, first we're talking about Vanishing Point, so let's get this over with. So in Vanishing Point, we are investigating some ruins on a planet, and it's Trip and Hoshi are on the planet, and they're taking some photos. They got some ruins.
Have they pissed on any sacred trees?
Not yet.
They're thinking about
But
it.
a storm's a brewing, and Archer calls and says, "Hey guys, there's a storm a brewing." So you gotta get out of Dodge, and you can't make it back to the shuttlecraft, so we're gonna have to do the old beam ya up thing. And Trip's like, "Well, Captain, it's not like anything ever bad would have happened from beaming up during a windstorm."
I love how he names all the times they've used the transporter so far and did not bring up Novakovich. Because clearly he's dead.
No, he's fine. Everything's fine.
No one dies on this show.
Yeah, so
Captain, we used to do transporting during tornadoes back in Florida or wherever I'm from.
Snotty beamed me twice last night.
It was wonderful.
Oh, my God.
So anyway, Trip's like, "Come on, Hoshi, it's perfectly safe." And she's like, "I don't wanna. I'll just stay here in the cave and die." And he's like, "Nah, we're gonna do the transporter thing."
Who is she,
So
Reed?
I'll tell you what.
Oh, my God, have mercy. Jesus.
I'll go first, and if it's safe, then you can go. So he goes first, and then he's like, "Okay, it's safe." And she's like, "Fine. Beam me up, Reed." And then she beams up, and at first it seems like everything's okay. But then some little weird things start happening, like she shows up late to her shift, which she never does, and people seem to kind of ignore her when she's in the room, and she has to like really assert her presence before people notice her.
And she's a terrible linguist.
And she's really
God,
bad
really
at her
bad.
job and gets in trouble at her job because, as it turns out, the planet which they thought was abandoned actually has a bunch of people on it. So she's trying to translate their language and it's not working. So Archer gets really fed up with her and is characteristically shitty about it and dismisses her from the bridge and tells
Typical
her to
Archer.
take a nap.
Go take a nap. Like she's been sent to timeout.
Yeah, and then
Go think about what you've done. I'm sorry, honey.
So he puts some other dude in charge of some rando, and later Hoshi runs into Paul in the mess, and she's like, "Oh my god, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be on the bridge because there's like a hostage situation with those weird aliens?" And Paul's like, "Bitch, please, you got that shit straightened out hours ago. Your replacement took care of it." And Hoshi's like, "Oh." So then other weird shit starts happening, like she kind of like the water runs through her when she's showering, which is weird. And all the while, like she's convinced that she's got some molecular decohesion or something, and because of something. And then she's telling her friends about it, and they're like, "Oh, well, you know, at least it's not a Cyrus Ramsey type situation." And she's like, "Oh my god, what's that?" And they're like, "How could you not have heard of her, you dumb bitch?" And they're like, Cyrus Ramsey was some dude who was like one of the early test subjects for the transporter, and he got demolecularized, and he's a ghost. Everyone's heard of Cyrus Ramsey, you idiot. And she's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I'm so stupid." So then she's paranoid about Cyrus Ramsey, and Phlox is of no help because he's just like points his scanner at her and is like, "Yeah, no, you're fine." So then eventually she goes to work out with Trip, who's playing in the spinny Rama room.
I want one of those.
Yeah, that looked fun as shit.
They used to have those at the mall.
Yeah, this was like, 2002 when those things were like everywhere.
Yeah. I question how it's an exercise device, but
I've seen it used.
It's used for like, I think it originally was used for like astronaut zero-G training.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So it makes sense that they'd have it on a spaceship.
Yeah,
but
you're
not as
right.
a
You're
workout
right.
Equipment. Anywho,
still want one.
She's talking to Trip, and then he leaves, and then she starts really disappearing, and then she gets stuck in the room, and she looks in the mirror, and she's transparent, and it's all fucked up. So she's trapped there all night, and then the next morning, Archer and Trip and T'Pol come in, and she's like, "Oh, thank God you guys came. I couldn't get out." And they're all like, "Nobody said anything. Well, that's weird. There's no voices in this room or people."
And the shirt that Hoshi took off earlier is not to be spoken of. Did it vanish too? Son of a bitch! Shirt continuity, please.
Nope.
So anyway, turns out that she's gone completely invisible, and she's now, everyone assumes she's dead. Phlox is like, yeah, I totally missed this on my scan that she was breaking down because I'm very incompetent. And then they, Archer's, obviously pissed off, so he's yelling at Trip, he's yelling at everybody, Reed.
They're all blaming dead Hoshi for this.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
Yeah, even after she's gone, they're like, "You dumb bitch, I told you to go first."
How could she do this to herself?
How could you do this to me, Trip? I have to live with the guilt of your death for the rest of my life.
So as she's wandering around the ship and all sad and everything, she's trying to get people's attention, and then she sees fucking Tosk in the bowels of the ship planting bombs, and she's like, "Oh my god, these are the aliens from the planet. They're doing a terrorism on us." So she goes up to she's like, "I gotta warn the rest of the crew." So she goes to Archer, and she's like, "Archer, please listen to me." And she's like, "God damn it, I'm so invisible."
What's Archer in the middle of doing in all of this, though?
Oh, yeah, Archer's calling her dad.
Oh my god!
What's he calling him?
Yeah,
son of a bitch.
In the most awkward, like, your daughter died conversation ever, and the dad's just like, "Oh, I am sad. Goodbye."
No, he wasn't even like, "I'm sad." He's like, "Could you call back later? My wife is really better suited to handle these types of situations."
Look, Archer, I have to go be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Can you call later?
Yeah.
Well, and wasn't he also, Jake, you'll maybe know this, wasn't he also on Curb Your Enthusiasm
might have been.
as the chiropractor or the masseuse or the acupuncturist, or it was something along those lines, wasn't it?
I think he was. I think, this actor pops up. He's one of that guys that just shows up in various things. But yeah, he has been on Star Trek as well.
Right, I totally forgot about, was it?
Buckeye.
So anyway, Hoshi's trying to warn Archer, and then she can't because she's invisible. But then she realizes that she can do something with a little light, so she starts flickering it SOS, which Archer recognizes. Then he calls into Paul, and she's like, "Oh yeah, that looks definitely like SOS." She's like, "Okay, great. Now that they recognize that it's Morse code, I'll switch to just spelling out my name instead." So she starts doing that, and then they're like, "Huh, it's not SOS anymore. It must just be weird ship shit." So I'll have Trip check it out in the morning. Bye.
I love it. I love how incompetent he is. It's amazing.
The thing is, though, I kind of do appreciate that he's like the one person in all of Star Trek's history to not be like, yes, I know Morse code perfectly. I can absolutely like translate this on the fly.
Yeah. So anyway, so she's like, well, I'm not getting any help here, so I'll have to do something to interrupt the terrorist plot. So she goes and she tries to fuck up with whatever Tosk's doing. And then but she can't. They manage to plant the bombs and then they beam out. They have their own little personal transporter pad that they brought with them. So she leaps onto the transporter pad and beams away with them. And then she rematerializes on the pad right after having been beamed off of the surface of the planet at the very beginning of the episode. And she's like, oh my God, you guys can see me? And they're like, yeah, of course we can see you. And she's like, but I was a ghost and nobody could see me. And they're like, we literally just beamed you up from the surface like 2 seconds ago. What's wrong with you? So as we find out later from Phlox, for some reason, she had like a little dreamy dream in the very final seconds of the transport, and everything else that happened in the episode was just part of that little dreamy hallucination thing. And even Cyrus Ramsey was just some bullshit that her brain made up for her.
This is
the end.
This is automatically almost guaranteed to be on my worst episodes list this season because I fucking detest It Was All a Dream episodes.
Yep. Back when we did our dream blog post a while back, and I watched this episode for it. And basically it states like, wow, this could have been an interesting transporter episode, but instead it was all a dream, which felt like a huge cop-out. And you just feel unsatisfied by the whole fucking thing. Even though Hoshi was doing a good job for a fucking change.
Well, because they gave her something to do.
And it's also just, but it's another Hoshi doesn't like space stuff episode, which we've already done, which was
several times
a year ago.
I was saying that was my other complaint, was that this would have made more sense in season 1. Like we kind of dealt with insecure Hoshi. She's confident now. She still doesn't get to do fucking anything. I mean, still does more than Mayweather. But yeah, it feels like a holdover from last season they never produced or something.
Yeah.
And trying to like tack on a little lesson at the end. It's like, hey, you still jumped on that transporter when you didn't think it was a dream. Shut up, John.
Oh, God. I hated Archer in that moment. He's like, oh, well, all this horrible trauma you experienced turned out to be a good thing. What the hell is wrong with you?
It's a waste of time.
At least
bad.
You learned your lesson.
Yeah.
No,
I think the thing is, like, when you know the twist going in, there are some amusing bits that you're like, oh yeah, that's totally a dream thing. Like when she woke up when she missed her alarm. Like that's just a thing that happens in dreams. You show up late for work, you can't do your job right. It's just like when the writers did put in some little like Easter eggs, I think, for people to catch on the second viewing of stuff like that.
Well, and like so much of it was like the characters were heightened. Like Archer was more Archer than usual for a lot of it.
I don't know. He seemed perfectly in character to me.
Well, you're biased.
I don't know. I didn't really feel like it was very Archerly. I don't really think of him as being like a real hard ass to people. Like I feel like if Hoshi was struggling like that, I feel like he would have been a little bit more understanding.
Yeah. I'm like 95% joking, and just a little bit like, yeah, he does suck.
But even like
no, he does. But I just mean that like I agree, I guess, to an extent that some of them were heightened, but. I don't know, man. I think Hoshi has anxiety and depression, and that this is like the perfect encapsulation of how like women are not taken seriously when they have mental or physical health concerns.
Well,
she was gaslighted all fucking episode long.
Gaslighted. Fucking Phlox was like, all your molecules look fine to me. I don't know why you're wasting my fucking time when I'm trying to feed the pets.
This is all her own psyche doing this. It's not actually Phlox.
Well, it doesn't matter. He's still guilty as far as I'm concerned. But
Agreed.
You know when you wake up from a dream where someone was an asshole and you're mad at them in real life, even though you know that that's ridiculous? It's like that. But I'm always angry at Phlox. That's my secret.
Well, and I was thinking similar things, and that's why it's almost like too much, like even more of a problem that it's all just a dream.
That it's
like,
fake. No shit.
Because it is just she's doing it to herself, And like I said, you kind of
ultimate gaslight.
You could have been trying to make a good point if it were real, right. But it's not, so you've undercut your own message.
So you're like, isn't it cute how women fantasize about how no one takes them seriously? It's like, no.
Also, as far as like stuff that was like a bit much even for the character, like being like a hint that this something is up, is like when he puts that bit of, Phlox put that bit of mucus into an envelope and is like, I'm sure her parents will want this.
Yeah. And then they left the rest there.
Egon, your mucus.
That felt in character. Phlox is a weird fuck. He would eat that off of someone's plate if they were eating it.
Oh, vile.
Yes, well, Phlox is disgusting. I didn't write the character. I just tell it like I see it.
I also think like the Trip characterization was a little bit of a giveaway because I can't imagine him victim blaming like this.
No, Trip's a good boy.
Yeah, but if you think about it as Hoshi blaming herself, I think that makes a little more sense.
Like I could see real Trip beating himself up over it, being like, I should have made her go first.
Not cursing the name of Hoshi. You dumb bitch, I told you to go first. Why wouldn't you let me be a damn gentleman?
Speaking of Trip, though, speaking specifically of real Trip, I found it kind of funny that, like, he said, well, this one seems to say tall guys are popular. And then he's talking to Archer a second later, being like, well, once we're done with Mr. Tall and Popular here. And it's like, Trip? Archer wasn't there for that. He has no idea what you're talking about.
No, that was just for him and Hoshi.
Yeah, that was his joke, his personal joke.
That was like when I tell jokes. They're mostly for me.
Like on this podcast, when all we do is drop references to things we've done. But we do get to see a little bit how Archer, even if this is a kind of a fake Archer, would actually respond to a character death poorly.
Yeah, I'd like to think real Archer would deliver the news better.
He'd make Reed do it.
But also,
yeah, Reed's already dead inside.
I also think that the reaction of her dad makes a lot of sense.
Oh my god, it was so weird.
It makes a lot of sense in the this is my nightmare type scenario where like your parents just seem to not really care that much that you're dead.
Although, also being fair to him though, like I think my reaction would also be very confused if I had been delivered the news like that.
I think it was pretty clear why he was calling. Yeah. You don't get a call from a captain to be like, we've had some trouble. Oh, there's trouble? Oh, what kind of trouble? Like, he's not just calling to shoot the shit. He's not
I don't understand what you mean.
Mr. Hoshi's dad.
No one said that, sir.
No one said that. I said we had an accident. Oh, wait a minute.
Mr. Sato.
Are you calling me to get Trip's mom's number? Because I don't have it.
What kind of cake does Hoshi like? We need to know immediately.
That's true.
Well, she's very fond of pineapple.
He did call parents about cake, so he might call for stupid reasons.
But that was one time. Listen, even 2 times, like that would still just be like a trend, not even a pattern yet. We have no real proof that this has happened before.
There are 2 reasons to call someone's parents. It's their birthday, or they've died.
Or they're dead, yep.
They're a little pile of goo in a Jeffrey's tube.
And some in an envelope, an even smaller pile of goo in an envelope.
Which will be on the next Vulcan mail freighter to Earth.
Actually, that's assuming that Phlox didn't eat it anyway. He's a sick man.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Like, there's almost nothing really to talk about
because it's all fake.
Because it's all fake.
Yeah, it's all in Hoshi's head, which is. I get it. I get what they did with this episode. I just feel nothing about it. Like I remember, when I wrote up that blog post. Check out the blog post. Basically writing like, yeah, you feel like the rug has been pulled out from under you, and it's your fault for watching this, and then rewatching this. And then rewatching this episode, I'm like, oh, yeah, now that I know the twist, I kind of get it. But you have to know the twist already, which makes it pointless as a twist.
That's the metaphor. Hoshi's blaming herself. We blame ourselves. And again, at least, like I said, it would have at least felt a little more relevant last season when she was struggling with her place in Starfleet. But then you have 3 episodes
of traumatized Hoshi like in one season, which is not great.
Yeah, but
you can do 2, but 3 is too many.
It still just feels like, then don't bother.
Then send her home.
Like, no, I mean, don't bother with this episode, you know?
Don't bother with the episode.
Like, it's like, we've already had this mini arc and decided she's fine now.
Make it Mayweather. He has done nothing.
Really,
he
who
loves
else?
Ghost stories.
True.
And he's quite a prankster, so, you know.
we've heard once and we'll never hear from again.
See, that really would have been a clue early on that something was up. If there was a ghost story that Mayweather didn't know.
Yeah. He didn't say. I was very annoyed that when they're talking about it in the mess hall, and they're like, "Oh, you ever heard of Cyrus Ramsey?" Mayweather isn't the one to tell the ghost story, even though he used to be the one to tell us the ghost story. I don't fucking
because Mayweather isn't allowed to do anything.
He was too busy planning his next great prank.
Yes, clearly.
He's in the background putting thumbtacks on chairs, going tee tee.
Oh, that's not a prank. That's assault.
Tee tee.
Oh my god.
Okay, fine.
That's
he's
not a
loosening.
Prank, that's assault.
Jumping off of that, he's loosening caps on salt shakers.
That's fine. That's acceptable.
Tee.
Unless you're Sluggo, which
Oh,
no,
poor
Sluggo's
Sluggo.
already dead because he was put on a hostile planet.
super dead.
Sluggo is now the dominant species on that planet.
Oh, he's just got a tiny crown and a scepter.
Sluggo is actually Murph's ancestor.
Oh, I like that.
I accept
Do
that
I, though?
headcanon.
I don't know if I do, but it's still fine. I want to get back to the clothes problem, and that's that, in the gym, Hoshi takes off a shirt so that she can go do a workout. We don't seem to care what happened to that shirt. Like, I expected Archer to, walk in saying, "Oh, I wonder where Hoshi is. Oh, she left her shirt here, so she was here." But we don't get anything with the shirt.
Well,
and it made me...
It's fucking object permanence in a dream. It doesn't exist.
Well, yes, but... It made me notice it because once the shirt vanished, I realized, wait a minute, if Hoshi's vanishing, but she's wearing different clothes than she wore when going through the transporter, why are those clothes vanishing too?
Yeah. But again,
why isn't she just a naked ghost running around?
Well, no, why isn't she an invisible person with just clothes that follow her around?
Because that's not what would happen.
She's dephasing.
She would dephase.
Oh,
her
she would
clothes
phase
would
through the
fall
clothes.
through her. Yeah, the clothes would fall through her.
Somewhere, an angry Rick Berman is going, "I should have thought of that then."
Yeah, and but again, I think all these questions are answered simply by saying it doesn't have to make sense because it was all a dream.
Yeah, that's the problem with these fucking dream episodes. You just fall back on a wizard did it.
Yeah,
but it's a dream. It's like any inconsistency, any stupidity. That's part of the reason dream episodes are fucking dumb.
Yes, sirree.
And they're even dumber in a mostly serious show, like there have been comedy shows but the thing is usually with those, when a comedy does a dream episode, normally, or at least sometimes I feel like you go in knowing, like that's the whole gag, is a character fucking eats a big ball of mozzarella before bed and shenanigans happen. It's an old Garfield.
What happens.
Yeah, and I mean, like, Star Trek has done better dream episodes, like Shades of Grey.
Oof.
Interesting. Tell me more, Jake.
That was supposed to be a joke.
That's the thing, though.
It's not a good dream episode.
I can't tell if you're joking because I feel like it handled it better.
I mean, yeah, it tells you up front, it's a clip show. Like, I don't feel like I got fucked in the same way.
Actually, speaking of like Riker episodes that handled it was all a dream in a more interesting way.
Ooh.
I think
Future Imperfect.
That's right? Because it wasn't literally a dream, but for all intents and purposes, it was a dream episode.
It's on the dream list.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, I suppose you could argue to an extent, like, but again, this is one where sooner, and that's kind of the point. But even like O'Brien's 20-year dream jail.
Mm.
But again, that's a little different because sooner, and the whole point is going back and forth. And
well, I mean, that's actually an interesting take, right? Because that was a dream, implanted dream, but then most of the episode dealt with the fallout. So like the episode wasn't a waste because like it actually did have a lasting impact on O'Brien's mental health. Whereas this is just like, okay, the whole episode is the dream, and like we're at the end, like the experience is minimized, and just you got over your fear of the transporter, ain't that a thing?
I hate that. Also, we love watching Miles get tortured. Watching Hoshi get tortured just seems mean.
Yeah, Reed is supposed to be the Miles of this show.
He's got a UK Isle accent and everything.
I have nothing else. This was
I have
fucking
nothing else
enraging. I fucking hate Dream episodes.
Maybe there'll be brighter skies ahead.
Oh no, it gets
our
worse.
Next episode.
Oh no, it gets so much worse. I prefer Vanishing Point by quite a lot, actually. Let's talk about it some more.
Precious Cargo,
Oh
everyone.
no.
So, in Precious Cargo, the Enterprise is transporting Ilan, the dolmen of Elas, to an arranged marriage on Troyes. And she's just a rancid bitch. And Kirk makes out with her, and it's all is well. I'm sorry. I was mixing that up with something else. Sorry, in Precious Cargo, the Enterprise is transporting the perfect mate to her perfect marriage.
I was hoping
and
that
she
was
falls
next.
in love with Picard on the way. And shit, wait, no, that's
She
not
even
right.
has spots on her face.
Well, it's the same species. She's Creosian.
Oh, is that her species name in that?
That's Kamala's species in The Perfect Mate. Before you continue your synopsis, Jake, may I read you the blurb from the other blog post that's relevant this week, which is our Cryo Freeze blog post. And this was the blurb for this episode. An even more egregious retread comes in Enterprise when they basically try to redo the super cringe episode The Perfect Mate that you just scrolled past and somehow continue to be fairly cringed. Same deal, a gorgeous Creosian woman is being transported while in stasis, her pod gets damaged and she wakes up and eventually falls for the hunkiest guy in Reach. We've done this all before.
I would just like to say, now knowing it's the same species, I hate this episode more now.
You should. You absolutely
Yeah,
should.
The fact that it...
So fucking lazy.
Fuck! You know what? Do the rest of the episode without me. Call me
Bye, Chris.
Lwaxana time.
He's
Chris
not joking. He's gone.
Is he coming back?
Yeah, he's back.
Look, I'm probably gonna...
It was an empty threat.
Yeah,
Damn.
I'm still debating
He got
actually
us.
not being here for the finale, but I will stick around for this.
Anyway, yeah, so, all right, now for the real synopsis. So, anyway, we have this Dauphin. Shit!
Thank you. I was hoping for a little Dauphin. That's great.
Fucking
no,
show.
all right. So here's what's going on. We're tooling around in space, and we pick up a distress call, I think, and we go to check it out. And it's
I don't think we see that, do we? I think we just start and we're already hanging out with them. Am I wrong?
I don't remember.
No, there's a distress call because Cap in Florida there is playing his harmonica.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
All right. I'm sorry, Jake. Go on.
So anyway, we meet up with these dudes. They're like freighter captains, and they're like, yeah, our ship is super slow, and we're trying to transport this woman to this place, and she's in stasis, and the stasis pod's having problems, and well, she's not going to last the journey, and so we need some help fixing the stasis pod. So Archer's like, yeah, we'll help you. Trip will take care of it. So Trip goes over there. He starts working on the pod, and he brushes off the frost from the glass. He's like, oh, it's a beautiful woman. I'm suddenly way more interested in this. Meanwhile, we're entertaining the two men on the Enterprise, and Archer's like, hey, look, your ship's slow as dog shit. So I'll tell you what, why don't you just come over here? We'll tow your ship. And we'll get you there in a couple of days. And the guy's like, no, thanks, but no. And Archer's like, okay, cool. Well, why don't you have dinner with us? And he's like, nope. Okay, fine, whatever.
Yep.
So those fucking Muppets.
So they have dinner,
dancing,
while they're
a little
eating
music,
dinner,
a little wine.
The Trip's still working on the pod, and something breaks, and he's like, oh shit, and it starts unpacking the girl, and she's like trying to get out of the pod, and she's awake, and he's like, god damn it, I gotta open it. And then at the dinner, the guy's little beeper goes off, and he's like, oh shit, there's something wrong on the ship, I gotta go take a look at. And so one of the guys leaves, and when he gets there, he opens up the pod with Trip, and then Trip's, and the woman's bound. She's like, what are you doing? Fuck you! And
why is he French?
I don't know.
She's not French. That's a totally different language, Chris.
The guy beats Trip over the head for some reason, and then flies away, leaving his other friend behind on Enterprise. There's a little chase bit where the Enterprise is trying to catch up with them, but they don't. And in the end, Trip and the woman who we find out is like this kidnapped princess lady is like, hey, we got to get out of here. And so they go aboard this
escape pod.
They crawl through a trash chute.
Yeah. So they crawl through a trash soup, and then they climb aboard the Ocean Gate Titan submersible.
No! Jesus.
To go as an escape pod. So then they have a bunch of hilarious hijinks because they're way too close and packed into this escape pod, and he has to touch her butt to look at something, and it's all stupid. And then and of course she's this princess, so she has a princess attitude about everything, and he's a down to earth guy, and he's talking trip talk.
She has to go back to her small town home and falls in love with the small town boy.
Oh my God, It's a Christmas special.
Yep. So anyway, back on Enterprise, Archer's trying to get the other guy to tell them like the warp tracking code, the UPS tracking number of the escape pod, and the guy's like, I don't know shit. So Archer concocts this this great ruse where he's going to pretend that T'Pol is this like
dominatrix.
That's what I say. He just revealed his fanfic.
Yeah,
dominatrix
this is
judge.
Just Archer's like role playing day.
Oh my God, this is my fanfic. That's what I'm gonna write.
So he basically tricks this guy, and T'Pol surprisingly plays along with it. She gets all dressed up in her costume and everything.
Well, she was just happy to get out of that jumpsuit.
I was happy she was out of that jumpsuit. She looked great.
I thought she looked hot in those high-heeled boots. I'm just kidding. I don't think there were any high-heeled boots.
But anyway, she just popped in. It's a Curb reference.
Oh, it's a Curb reference.
I kind of figured, because when you and Caitlin laugh at something and me and Ames are confused, it's usually Curb.
Yeah. Anyway, he tricks the guy into, I guess he tricks the guy into revealing where they went. Meanwhile, the pod has crash landed on some swampy planet, and Trip's trying
Planet Florida.
Yeah.
Trip's right at home.
Lands in Florida, and Trip's trying to do something. Who gives a shit? And they end up falling into the mud together and rolling around and having a fight. And then of course, because it's fucking stupid, it turns out into a kissing fight.
Ooh.
But the bad guy caught back up with them, and he's going to shoot them. And they have a big fight with him and Trip, and Trip and the guy are fighting and rolling around in the mud. And then that turns into a kissing fight.
I wish. Better episode.
Oh my God.
That guy was fun.
No, but Elan beats the guy over the head, and right then Archer and the crew show up and are like, hey, what's going on, guys? And they're like, nothing.
Why are you in your underwear?
Nothing.
So everyone gets rescued, and that's the end.
Woof. Wow.
Yep. Well, that's really all there is to say. So I guess moving on to Lwaxana Troi.
Yeah.
No, I think the headline here is not that it's a recycled plot.
Oh, which it is.
3 times over, but it's also just how bad that woman's acting was.
Oh
yeah.
So
it
bad.
was the worst.
Padma Lakshmi.
Yeah, to be fair, she was mostly a model before this. This is one of her earliest acting gigs.
Well, that's good. She was very pretty.
And she didn't, apparently, I don't think she's done a lot of other, she mostly is known for cooking shows like Top Chef and Chase the Nation.
Yeah, she does hosting mostly.
Yeah, which is fun because there's no acting. There's just cooking and talking.
Yeah.
Can I ask like a stupid question? Is she like a native English speaker?
I don't know. I know she's from India.
But she did go to
because she has a... Oh, go ahead.
She did go to university in the States, though, so...
I guess what I was mostly wondering is if the accent that I was hearing was, like, legitimate, or if she was, like, sort of making things worse for herself by trying to affect an accent.
Yeah, because I remember when we covered Perfect Mate... Oh, God, the actor's name is gone.
Femke Janssen.
Femke Janssen, thank you. She barely knew English at the time, so a lot of her readings were just rote, like just say this line, and they tell her the line, and then she tells you the line.
No shit, I had no idea.
Forgot about
even
that.
she was better than what was happening in this.
Yeah, that's true.
Debatable.
Barely.
But that makes me just think even more about. Sorry, I'm just thinking of X-Men. I would have never guessed that she was not.
Well, X-Men was much later.
Yeah, but still,
only a couple of years though. My dumbass wouldn't be any better at a language I wasn't born into with that fast.
Yeah, that's honestly incredible. So I don't give her enough credit. So I'm sorry, Famke. I'm sure that my opinion has really bothered you for a long time.
And GoldenEye was earlier than that, and she was already much better at acting.
Ugh, now I'm gonna have the GoldenEye theme stuck in my head all day.
Sorry.
GoldenEye.
But yeah, no, she is. That was, I said this off air last week when I was like, oh god, is this the one I think it is? My abiding memory of this episode was just how bad her acting was.
She is abysmal in
I'll give it this. It was better than I remembered because one or two lines were delivered competently.
One or two. Excellent.
Poor thing.
I could almost say it's the universal translator doing this. I don't know, but it's never something that's happened before.
Oh no, the universal translator.
Yeah, what about it?
Hey, we finish your thought and then we'll pick that up.
No, I'm done. You go.
So last week we were talking about the universal translator. Apparently, it's a fucking giant tablet with a communicator jammed into it.
Oh, right. Well, I think it's complicated because I feel like they needed it because it didn't know her language yet. But when Trip was in the room with her and she's speaking Creosian or whatever, but then one of the Italians walks in and they don't understand each other fine.
Yeah, he was just speaking English.
Yeah,
I doubt that.
Yeah. Also, oh my god, the fucking escape pod. This is only for one person. That is a very wide bench intended for two people.
It's for a big ass.
They tried shooting it from different angles to make it look smaller, but they'd already given up the game. Also, who designed that escape pod? Hey, let's put important controls under the chair. What? All of the design of that thing was strictly for shenanigans. It wasn't a logical design.
Strictly for shenanigans.
So fucking stupid.
We all know that you put the flotation device under your ass.
Also that.
Not the important things.
Unless you got Data with you.
True.
Well, he's fully functional.
Oh god, just.
Everything is fucking laughable. She tears the skirt and you're like, oh, we're gonna see some leg.
Which was in no reason necessary, because then she just went in backwards anyway, which she could have done fine with the long skirt.
You would think.
It was just so we could see some, fuck you, Rick Berman.
In her defense, it really does depend on how tight of a skirt it was. If it was a mermaid cut dress or something, I didn't really pay much attention to it until she was ripping it. But if it was, if it was meant to be tight enough around the legs, it might have been difficult to move.
Either way, though, they only designed it that way so she could rip it so Rick Berman could be horny.
Almost certainly.
God,
luckily, the ladies got to be a little horny too, though, because we got some Connor with his shirt off, doing his thing.
When she realizes he's injured and she's like, take a uniform off. He's like, look here, lady. Last time I was alone with an alien, all I did was touch a bowl of beads with her and I done got knocked up. Like hell am I getting naked around you.
And then he does.
Yeah.
Not all the way.
Right before they fuck, he goes, hey, real quick. Do the fellas get pregnant on your planet or the ladies? Don't look at me like that. It's a legit question.
I'm glad he checks. Every time he talks to anybody now, okay, tell me your mating habits. I have to know.
If I'm just talking to you, can I get pregnant?
I hope one of his 8,000 pockets has a Starfleet-issued rubber.
I feel like that's required, yeah.
Yeah, they must.
Starfleet rubber.
Delta ribbed for her pleasure.
Oh, God.
Delta ribbed. Yikes.
Just, yeah, like the
little deltas,
first,
like everything has.
Like the Kelvin uniforms in the first two movies.
Or the newer Strange New Worlds uniforms, right? Isn't that
Yeah, they have them on, the shoulders, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, God. I've been monopolizing. Someone take over.
I will tell you some backstory then. So apparently I didn't realize there'd been a lot of turnover in the writing team between seasons 1 and 2. Interesting. I mean, season 1, I feel like was mostly Berman and Braga, and they didn't let other people write a ton.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, and granted, they bring in some new people for season 2, and I thought season 2 had a strong start, and then has been going steadily downhill. But they finally bring on David Goodman, who we will remember because he did the Futurama episode where no fan has gone before.
Oh, no way.
Which is delightful.
Had that already aired by this point?
Yes, I believe so, because this is December of 2002. So I think that's right. But we'll also know him. He's done a lot of work on Family Guy and The Orville.
Oh.
And he's saddled with this story. He didn't come up with the pitch, but he gets the story to write the teleplay for. And he says, oh God, I'm going to get fucking fired for this. Because he understood it was bad. But apparently...
At least he knew.
Apparently, his draft wasn't as bad as what Braga did to it, because Braga did a rewrite. And while Goodwin says, yeah, both of them are bad, I'm sure this one's worse, because the way Braga treated it was as a, quote, screwball comedy.
Oof.
So I don't know how bad it was before, but I feel like this is also incorrect.
Also, having just looked up Where No Fan Has Gone Before, that aired April 2002?
Yeah,
so he may have been working
well enough before.
Okay, yeah, so he probably wrote that and then wrote this.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Depending on the production schedules of the shows, I guess. Yeah, especially animated. He probably wrote that ages ago, actually. So.
Yeah, we will see more of him. I don't remember which episodes he writes in future, but he does write some more Enterprise.
Hopefully they give him better starting points.
I'm hoping so.
Be hard not to.
Trip has an old-timey diver's helmet for some reason.
Oh, I missed this. Was it in his quarters?
Yeah, it's like on a shelf.
Oh, like, weird.
It definitely feels like something they just kind of pulled out of props without giving it much thought.
What's something a Floridian might have?
That's what I mean. It doesn't feel very
Lyme
Trip,
disease.
you know? Like, he's an engineer. And, like, yeah, he's an explorer and an astronaut, but it still feels like... I never got the... Like, if anyone is going to have old-timey, like, diving equipment, maybe Reed, because he's a sailor?
Right, yeah. He's used to that life.
Like, it just felt weird. Like, again, obviously most of the stuff in their rooms that someone pulls out of props, but sometimes it feels like they actually put thought into it, and this does not feel like that. This feels like they're the Space Navy. What do Navy people have? Like, the shit in Archer's room all makes sense.
It does.
That doesn't make a ton of sense. To me. I don't know. Maybe other people would disagree, but...
No, I agree. That doesn't make a ton. Look, granted, Trip is such a character that trying to, like, make him, like, the just normal military guy. He's an engineer. What the fuck does that have to do with anything?
Like, maybe an old-timey life ring? I'd be like, that makes a weird kind of sense.
A what now? A lifesaver?
Life preserver?
No, like the ring ones, not the vests.
That's the life preserver.
A lifesaver.
What the hell is the vest? Is called a life vest,
life vest,
like I just said. Yes, Jesus Christ.
Wait, I thought you said it wasn't a vest.
Yeah, no, I
Okay.
realized I was getting my terms confused.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the ring.
Yeah, a ring with SS Minnow on it.
All right, moving on.
Moving on, like the other half of the plot, and it's very funny because the two different reviewers that I follow, one of them says the B plot on ship is the worst thing about the episode, and the other says that, and granted this comes with many asterisks because it's all bad, that the B plot on the ship is the best thing about this episode. I just found it entirely out of character what Archer and T'Pol decided to do to this man they've already been interacting with for a day.
Yeah, it doesn't make a ton of sense. I mean...
It doesn't make a ton of sense. Like, when I read that on a synopsis saying they go good cop, bad cop, I'm like, oh, good, Archer's going to be bad cop. And even in the first scene, as he's going, I'm like, yep, Archer's bad cop. Archer's definitely... Wait, wait, I'm confused now. Why would T'Pol be bad cop?
Yeah, like you said, it may make more sense if they hadn't already been hanging with him so much. I mean, she was there at dinner with them when the guy couldn't eat his spaghetti.
Well, to be fair, it didn't look very good.
But, yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the way they played it, but it made no sense in context.
No.
Like, it was a fun scene in isolation, but outside of isolation, it just falls to pieces.
Yeah, the only thing I liked about it was it got T'Pol out of that jumpsuit and into something proper.
Yeah.
And she looked great. She looked great in that thing.
They do eventually give her a different jumpsuit, which...
But it's still a jumpsuit.
It is, but it's kind of like her desert jumpsuit a few weeks ago. It's still very form-fitting, but a little less painted on. It's kind of like how when they went from the silver one for Jerry Ryan to the brown and blue one, like, yeah, like clearly it's still way too tight, but she can maybe breathe a little now.
Oh, good. See, I just felt like, it makes no sense to have Archer T'Pol be doing this stupid ruse.
Not at all.
T'Pol would never go along with it because it's a terrible idea.
Yep.
And also, isn't all of this Reed's job?
Shh.
Oh, right.
Reed's job is to invent the force field and operate the transporters, because apparently he's an engineer. I think they got confused because he had the red. Security really needs its own color. They could be green.
Pretty.
That feels more medical.
Yeah, but medical's blue or white now.
Fine, transporters can be green.
There we go.
Sure.
Also, like, Archer, buddy, just because somebody works on a ship doesn't mean they know its warp signature off the top of their head. That's like asking someone who owns a car how to fix an engine.
Yeah, what's your VIN number? Why would I know that off the top of my head?
Yeah. Although you should probably, for safety's sake, have it written down somewhere just in case you need it.
G.I. Joe.
Again, it's like the fucking people last season being like, you've met the Suliban a couple times, you must have all this info on them. What? It's the same thing. Oh, Jesus Christmas, Jake, what are you doing? Jake has flipped his glasses onto his forehead and was making the weirdest face, listeners. It was something else.
I'm sad that I didn't see it.
That's the face you see in the mirror if you turn the lights off and say Cyrus Ramsey 5 times.
Oh, Cyrus.
Oh, Christ on a button.
All right, one more question.
That's just my normal face, and I'm very offended.
Oh, poor Jake. One more question. So they bring these aliens on board, and the first thing one of them says is, oh, could I have a bath? It's been fucking years since I had a bath, and, you know, Stinky and I are going to have a little contest on which of us is stinkier. And my first thought was, so when you guys go down to planets, you go through the decon chamber to come back. Why don't you have people who come visit go through the decon chamber?
That's a good point.
Well, because we want to give them all baths.
No, it's because this guy isn't as sexy as T'Pol, so we pass on it immediately.
Yeah, I never thought of that, but yeah, that's a huge flaw. Hate this show.
Wow, poor Chris.
You used to like this show.
Remember how excited he was for the show?
Again, I really think it's because I hadn't seen real Star Trek in a long-ass time at this point.
That's fair.
It's just a point, and this was an issue with Voyager, where they don't commit to the bit they created. Like, the execution is fucking horrible, but the idea of the decon room is solid.
Right,
but like you said, the inconsistency of it is part of the failure.
Or like how, you know, we almost never use the transporters when they're really appropriate. And so that when they do come up, it's like, oh my God, everyone's going to get killed by these things.
I mean, the thing is, so the transporters are what kind of negate the need for the decon room in the future because they have the biofilm.
Built in,
right.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. I feel like they've established enough with this series that, like, even though they're approved for human use, it's still, like, enough of a kind of a we only do this in extreme circumstances thing. Admittedly, a few weeks ago with the communicator, sounds like an extreme circumstance.
That was pretty
womp.
Extreme. Oh, the captain's about to get hanged. Go down there in this experiment ship we don't understand. Good. Well done, Trip.
Oh, though, speaking of Stinky, I will say big credit to, I cannot remember Reed's real name.
Dominic Keating.
Thank you, Dominic Keating. When he's given the order to fire on the alien ship, he just has the most pleased little smirk on. Like, I don't get to do this enough time to matter.
Oh, my favorite thing was when one of the Retalians goes onto the vessel and he's about to get away, and they're like, "Get the increased docking clamps," and then the thing just flies off. It's like, docking clamps are not going to do anything. It just ripped the whole fucking tube off your ship. It wouldn't have done squat.
Yeah, I actually don't think there were docking clamps. I don't think the ships were clamped together at all. They were just connected by that little tunnel. No,
it was actually being held by clamps from Futurama, and his hands came off. He was very sad. He loves those clamps.
There you go.
Oh, God. Other bad in this. I do not know who was choreographing some of the violence in this.
Oh, my God. It was just the tumble in the mud.
Not even that. Both times, Trip got hit with a stick from behind. It was like the least convincing thwack I've ever seen. Like when she does it to him, and then I think the alien does it at one point. It's just like, guys, come on.
She does it to the alien at the end.
That's right. I think that one was probably fine. But when she does it to Trip, it's just like, it's so badly done. What I did find hysterical, though, about the fight at the end between Trip and the alien was like, yeah, this is pre-Kirkchop days. So Trip goes full fucking Marquess of Queensbury on him. Like, you had like the hands up. Like the hands up and kind of like wiggling them in the air thing.
Oh, wow.
Put up your dukes there.
Yeah, it was like, what is happening? Admittedly,
this has come to fisticuffs, see?
The punches were more convincing than any other violence in the episode, but it was hysterical.
You know, I'm a celebrated pugilist from Florida.
They made sure to not get anywhere close to killing the guy. Yeah. Even though he was going to murder the hell out of Trip and tried. Like, he shot Melon Man dead.
Yeah, he was
Nobody dies on this show.
It was a tasty looking melon.
Not even Cyrus Ramsey.
Yeah, he's still alive, that bastard.
I have a few deaths filed away. We will get some eventually. And we did have those, like, thousands of off-screen people last season. When they blew up a colony.
But we no longer have any guilt about them because it wasn't technically our fault.
True.
And there's the people that were getting their brains jacked into that.
Oh yeah, they're dead.
Station.
They're dead.
They got blowed up.
Yeah, they're super dead, but Phlox had already written them off.
They were semi-dead already. Yeah, they were, they were on life support.
Oh, they're unsavable. Wash my hands of this.
There were the corpses that were getting their lymph juice drained.
Yum.
Yeah. But we found them dead. That's a little different. Yeah, we haven't had like an active. Again, there was Daniels, but they undid. Poor Sluggo.
We don't know. Sluggo could be fine.
I contend Sluggo's dead.
Sluggo is Murph's great times 10 grandfather.
Forefather. For mother twice removed.
All right. Cool. Great. That episode blew.
What a terrible week.
Bad week.
Rough.
Like, things had been going better, and then they were kind of wobbly, and now it's just, this is a season 1 week.
Seriously, remember, Chris, the other day when I was like, yeah, we should do another episode because I just kind of want to keep watching this show now. It's pretty good. Well, that's gone now.
Well, I was reticent because I knew one of these episodes. And then when I got to the first one, too, I was like, oh, no, it's the dream one.
Now, Caitlin, you didn't know it was a dream the whole time, did you?
I did not.
How did you feel by the end?
I started to think it kind of probably was, though, like, just because it was so weird and, like, everyone was acting so fucking weird. Like, I thought either it was a dream or, like, I don't know, everyone was sick. But I was like, but we already did a Space Madness episode just last week. Can't be that.
That's true. We've had a lot of kind of bodily episodes so far, which strikes me as strange for so many episodes in a row that feel cheap.
Yeah.
But yeah, by the end of it, I was pretty fucking annoyed because it was, like I said, I mean, well, as you guys said, or as we all said, as we all agreed.
So say we all.
It was like they were doing a good thing by being like, making a statement about how, like, people with mental health concerns maybe aren't taken so seriously.
Yeah,
or
give Linda
like
Parks something to do.
Or like how women, like in general with healthcare, aren't always taken seriously, like with Phlox and the way he just kind of dismisses her and is like, oh yeah, you're being dumb, your molecules are great. So yeah, mostly just pissed off and then pissed off again.
Yep.
Oh, I don't know if you came across this in your research at all, Ames. Does Connor Trenier actually play the harmonica, or was that dubbed?
That was... I hear that was dubbed. It wasn't. I didn't hear it from Memory Alpha. I heard it from one of the reviewers who said like once you know it's dubbed, you kind of like can't take your eye off of it.
I
kind of assumed it. I assumed it was because I didn't really buy his playing.
I was looking at it, I was like, I don't know what playing a harmonica well looks like. So for all I know, this is correct.
Well, being fair, no one does.
Like, who outside of the hobo community is just hanging out playing harmonica?
Sean Colvin.
Who?
Singer I used to listen to, a singer that was popular in like the 90s.
Oh yeah, also Bob Dylan.
Well, I'm not talking about musicians that are playing a harmonica as part of a performance. I'm talking about somebody just sitting alone in their room.
Well, you should be more fucking specific.
Riffing on the harmonica.
Because that is what the show thinks Southerners are.
Hmm.
Believe me, they would have done banjo, but they decided that was a bit too much.
Oh no.
Like, again, Trip is not really Floridian. He is the South.
The big twist in this episode was going to be that the princess woman was actually Trip's second cousin, but it was going to be okay.
No!
Oh, God. You know what would be amazing? I know this doesn't happen in the show, so I'm just going to throw it out there. I hate body swap episodes usually. Mm-hmm. But if you had Reed and Trip switch and both the actors had to try to do the other one's accent.
Oh, that's kind of funny. The one body swap episode I really love is that Prodigy episode.
That one's good.
That one's excellent. There's no segue.
No.
We've destroyed any semblance of segue, so we're just going to move on. Thank God, we're done with these episodes.
Oh.
The character spotlight's going to be much more fun this week because it's one of our favorites. It's our good friend Lwaxana Troi. We got lots of good and bad moments for her.
Wait, is this... Go ahead.
Strictly TNG, or is it everything?
Yeah, include anything.
Anything we've watched.
Oh my gosh.
Was fucking...
Oh, that changes everything.
Flabbergasted to find out... Like, I knew she wasn't in a ton of episodes, but she was in 7. And it's like, wow...
9. She's in 9.
9? I miscounted then.
Are you not counting Deep Space Nine?
No, I was. I just very badly
7,
miscounted, apparently.
Yeah, it's 9. I have the list right here. They're Manhunt, Haven, Menage a Troi, Cost of Living, Fascination, The Muse, Dark Page, The Forsaken, and Half a Life.
In no particular order.
From worst to best.
Caitlin, you go first.
Yeah, let's let Caitlin go first, because I know you're a big fan of Lwaxana Troi.
I love Lwaxana Troi. So what we want, good moments?
Let's do goods, yeah.
Well, everything about Half a Life, I love.
Hard agree.
She's just, she acts the fuck out of it. It's like the most selfless we've ever seen her. Because I think it's, in a way, like some of the most real we've ever seen her. Mm-hmm. Certainly in TNG, it's the realest we ever see her. Because, the rest of the time we'll get there. Because there are bad things. But that's not a bad thing. That's a very good thing, that one. I think it is, let me see. Oh my God, The Forsaken.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the turbo lift scene.
The turbo lift scene, absolutely.
Love it.
With her and Odo. Because, it's at first it's like, oh my God, what the fuck, Lwaxana? Because she's just chasing him and being crazy like she do. But when she really opens up to him and that lets him really open up to her, and she's like, it's okay to fall apart, I'll take care of you, and Caitlin cries, and
she takes
Renee
her wig off, and you're like,
turns into a puddle.
I love them.
Yeah, I do too. It is the best. And it's another really dude. Oh, well, as I said, I was going to say this as a joke, and now that I don't have a real one, I guess I will. I thought it was really nice in that episode where she tried to help her daughter, secure a good future by setting her up with a husband.
Which time?
Wow. Oh, all of them.
All of the times.
The first time in season 1. Haven? Yeah.
Oh, in Haven. Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. What a great mom, To
be fair, it did come with all the money out of the Quark box.
That's true. Yeah.
Pretty good deal.
I'll give him this. Wyatt Earp was one of the nicest men, male guest actors she ever interacted with. Most of them were trying to murder or do worse things to her.
The actors or the characters?
The characters.
Okay, that makes much more sense.
Had Derp not been fantasizing about the other woman, he would have been a probably very giving, gentle lover. They would have vibed, as the kids say.
They were already vibing, but he, vibed more with somebody else. And
yes, yeah.
Better to be in a relationship like that than one where you're living a lie. So,
at the end of the day, she should have gone with Worf. We all know that.
Oh, obviously.
I would have been happy.
How about you, Chris?
Well,
You just turned entirely off.
Yeah, sorry. I just blue screened there. I got thrown off pretty badly. Someone else go. My brain just imploded.
Well, actually, though, let me give you a real third one that's actually good.
Sure.
She tries, and I mean, I think we can all agree that more Alexander screen time is not good screen time, but she really does try to help Alexander, like, learn to be cool and learn to have a good time in Cost of Living.
No, I agree.
I'll give her mad props for being, like, kind of a good, I don't know, maybe not a surrogate mom, but like a godmom or like a Grammy or an auntie or...
Fairy godmother.
She tries, you know? Alexander is...
She's got
kind
fun
of
grandma energy.
Oh, she does, dude. She would have been a great grandma. I would have loved that.
Well, that's fucking great because my 3 tops are the exact same 3 that Caitlin just did.
Mine too. Mine are the exact same 3 as well.
Yay!
Wonderful. Yeah, so I had, you know, trying to save Timison.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
God, yeah, there's aspects of that, though, that are negative, but again, you know, I give her the benefit of the doubt.
What could possibly be negative?
I mean, really, I'm going to be specific in the moment that I'm going to consider the good moment, and that's coming around in the end and joining him.
Oh, I love that.
Because even though she didn't agree with his decisions, she accepted it.
Yeah, and respected his culture.
Yeah.
His shit culture, but still
terrible,
his culture.
awful culture.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Terrible. So, yeah, I'm going to go with that.
Yep.
I wrote, you know, finding Odo's heart.
Actually,
you know, to differentiate it a little bit, I'm going to go with a different DS9 Odo bit and say in the Muse.
Yay!
The Muse.
When she gets Odo to pretend to be in love with her or pretend to be marrying her or whatever
No, they actually do get married.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. Yes, yeah.
Marrying Odo then. Yeah, exactly. But it was a fake marriage to piss off Kang, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Yes, it was. But the feelings were real, and that was lovely.
Yeah. And then, yeah, being the only parental figure in Alexander's life.
She didn't even write a contract about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 of mine, again, the same as everyone else. Half a Life and Odo Elevator there.
Mm-hmm.
Forsaken.
And you know what? Since last week I shat on... No, last week... 2 weeks ago, whatever. I shat on Wesley's sartorial choices. I will say a good thing about her are her sartorial choices.
Yes! Oh, we have a whole blog post on that, I can link to
it. Mostly great clothes. There were 1 or 2 outfits where you're just like, oh. But vast majority...
Love that pink wig.
Yeah, the pink wig, the blue dress. Yeah, there's so much going on there. Yeah, we have the collection up on the blog post, so you definitely check that out. All right, so my top 3 were the same as yours, but as I usually do, I've got a bunch of spares.
Great.
A different thing that happens in Cost of Living. She goes to her wedding naked to just fuck over Campio because fuck that guy.
Oh, God, fucking Judge Frollo there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, you know what? If you don't accept me at my culture, then you know what? We probably shouldn't be getting married, asshole.
You don't deserve me at your culture.
Damn right. It really bums me out, man. Lwaxana is, like, such a great character, and she, like, never knows her worth, and she's always chasing men, and it makes me sad. I mean, I want her to be happy and have a man and stuff, but I just wish that she could realize that she perhaps could be very happy without man.
Yeah, well, you know. I think she just needs someone in her life, and I don't know, I feel like her position, it's hard to just have sort of casual friends, you know, she's an ambassador and some sort of very important Beta Z type person, too. Got them keys and shit, and that chalice.
The holder of the keys, and the drinker of the chalice, and the cupper of the balls, and all that.
Oh, definitely that, yeah.
It keeps her oddly distanced from people. You know, her closest friend is probably Mr. Hom.
Right. A couple more small ones. I do love the moment when Deanna and her are in her brain in Dark Page and they connect over the Kestra memory. I think that's a very beautiful scene, and I give Majel I give Majel so much credit in that scene because it's lovely.
Yeah.
So that's a great Lwaxana moment for me. And my last one is going to be a funny little moment in Manhunt. There's not much good in Manhunt, but the one great thing she does is she exposes the Antidian assassins. Like a fucking boss.
Like it's nothing, too. She's like, what? Oh, yeah, no, they're... What? You could not tell.
Don't trust these men.
Don't trust these handsome fish. One of which is a major musician whose name escapes me.
Iggy Pop. Is it Iggy
Oh,
Pop?
sadly, no.
No,
No,
it's
he was in Magnificent Ferengi.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I know, but I mean, you know. Just 'cause
No,
you
isn't
do
it
one
like
doesn't mean you
Mick
can-
Fleetwood or something?
Yes,
Oh, I think
that
you're right.
sounds
Yeah, I
right.
think that's
Yeah.
it.
Mick Fleetwood, huh?
Funny. Is it?
Like, it
and you'd
literally
never
could've
tell.
Well, yeah, it could have been a fucking hat stand with a costume on it.
It's hilarious.
It's like a sexy lamp, but it's the dude version, which is
Yeah.
hat stand or whatever you just said.
Handsome fish.
Handsome fish hat stand.
All right. Sadly, we also have to talk about bad Lwaxana moments, even
Bad.
though we do love
Literally
her.
Bad
impossible.
Lwaxana.
Look, if a character is only good, they're boring. A real character has nuance and subtlety, like Cisco, who's, a great captain, but also a war criminal.
Yes. I was showing Jake, actually, because, as I've been re-listening to certain podcast episodes, I've been kind of like going ahead just to jot down ideas for future character spotlights. Mm-hmm. And my Cisco list so far is like 12 or so good ones and close to 30 bad ones.
He's a bad man.
He does a lot of fucked up shit. So
Hey, listen,
that'll
he can
be a
live with
fun
it.
week.
Delete this personal log.
But yeah, back to Lwaxana.
Yes.
So,
Caitlin,
Lwaxana.
give it to us.
I mean, I'm glad that she was trying to help Alexander out, but she didn't need to take him to the naked jacuzzi party. That's fucked up.
It's a little weird.
It's fucked up. Secondly, since I was kind of just kidding about that whole, prearranged marriage thing, I kind of hate that she did that. And I'm sure she had the best, like, Lwaxana, yeah, right. Whatever her name is. Troy's, like, best interests at heart, like, really. But it's still kind of a shitty thing to do to your, like, very adult daughter.
Yeah, and she's such a
who has-
momzilla about it, too.
Yeah,
She comes in, I'm going to plan the wedding, too. It's like, Mom, Jesus.
Well, that's actually just really how it is, I think,
Ugh.
with moms and weddings. It's my special day. No, Mom. But, I mean, I assume, I've heard, that's what they say in the movies, like,
No, I
Movies
know a lot
never
of
lie.
people whose marriages were like that.
Yeah, because I feel like, their
whose
mom did
weddings
it to
were like
them, their mom did it to them, and so on and so forth. So it's like a cycle that never ends. But anyway, third thing, honestly, is just that she threw herself at Picard all the fucking time, and to a lesser extent, Odo, but I think she and Odo had like a real connection, so it takes away from some of the ick. But with Picard, like, it just felt unnecessary. Felt like he wasn't interested and she was just pushing it. And like, I don't know. I don't think it was her best moment. Oh God, and she did Umox with that fucking Ferengi.
Oh, gross, she did. Yep,
Well,
that was
that-
on my
that-
list, too.
Wasn't that, though, like, kind of extreme circumstances? You gotta kind of play along and...
But then she slept with him, though.
She didn't know it was Umox until...
How did
she
I
just thought-
forget that? Oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Caitlin cheated and had 4.
Ooh, cheater.
So she did get one of mine, which
Which
was
one?
the
Which one?
Umox.
Oh, God, yeah.
But yeah, so then in the other ones I had though are this might be controversial, but her negligent parenting, which led to the death of her child.
Ooh, damn.
Ooh.
Yeah,
That's a
wasn't-
tough one.
Wasn't keeping an eye on Kestra, and Kestra dead now.
Wow.
Jesus.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna say her very obnoxious behavior at the dinner in Haven, where she was having Mr. Home hit a gong every time she ate, and just
That's just
being
her culture, though. That's not obnoxious
It
behavior.
was fucking annoying, and she knows it, and she was doing it to be annoying.
Was that the
Yeah.
dinner where Tasha had that great haircut?
Oh, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
In Haven. She looked great. And Lwaxana had the arm plant that kept pestering
That's
the
right.
groom's mother.
Yeah.
All right, have you gone
That
yet,
woman
Chris?
can
You haven't gone yet,
accessorize.
Chris.
You gotta give her that.
I'm not.
Give it to us.
I think this is also Haven, but don't quote me.
There's a lot of Haven. Haven, she's kind of a bitch.
The time she's like having psychic talk with Deanna when non-psychics are around, and she's like, "Ma, this is rude." It's like, that is rude. Stop that. Fuck, I had others.
I believe you.
Oh, related to Dark Passage there. I mean, look, I get it. I have never lost anyone that important to me like that, but she did not deal well with the death
Oh,
of her
yeah.
daughter.
She
Like,
did the blocking memory thing, like T'Pol did
Yeah.
with that guy she killed.
Though that feels like that was just forced upon her by bad government.
I don't know. I thought she went to it. I think she went to them voluntarily.
I mean, she went to them voluntarily, but I kind of wonder how voluntarily how much pressure was exerted upon her to get her to agree to the, like, wipe.
I think it's because she was handling it so bad, though.
Yeah.
It didn't look voluntary.
Yeah, it did not. Anyway, but yeah, that could have been handled better. Again, I mean, I have no fucking frame of reference, but yeah, you know,
Yeah.
And yeah, the like constant pursuit of Picard. It'll like if the genders were reversed, it would be gross, not funny.
Oh my god, wicked gross. Yeah.
Yeah, true. It's pretty gross.
It's one of those things that, again, though, it's like it's one of those things that you can play for laughs one way, but the other way, it's like, oh, wait a minute.
Well, especially because like we still live in a world, especially like when TNG was coming around, I think, that thought the idea of like horny women was hilarious, which it wouldn't surprise me if that was as much a part of the Golden Girls' success as the fact that the writing was fantastic and they were way ahead of their time on some themes. Old ladies fucking.
That's funny, because they're old.
Yeah, you know, I don't know.
There's a weird shadowy figure in the glass door behind Caitlin. Freaking me out.
What the fuck?
Dude, what the fuck is right? It's a coat.
Oh,
I don't see a shadowy
Why
figure.
did you have to do that to me? That's scary as fuck.
It's Cyrus Ramsey!
Oh no! I have a couple more Lwaxana moments to bring up. I have, good God, making everyone horny in Fascination, because fuck that, and I hated it so much.
Well, she
Sorta
didn't do
wasn't
that
her
on
fault,
purpose,
though, was it?
right?
If she should have known.
Fair enough.
If you have Xanthi fever and you're a Betazoid, you fucking quarantine yourself.
Oh, was that? I couldn't quite remember the cause. Yeah, she probably should have then.
Yeah, that was gross. Here's a very funny one that I like because it's so stupid. Having no fucking clue she was in a holodeck in Manhunt and then banging that bartender.
I thought about that one.
It's like, oh, why is there randomly a street in the middle of your ship? Lwaxana, do you have any idea where you fucking are right now?
Well, it's like,
Lwaxana, do you know what a holodeck is?
She's like an important ambassador. She should be up to date on everything.
And all of my last ones are weird relationship things. Which one am I gonna pick? Let's go with, oh god, in Manhunt, when she just suddenly declares herself engaged to Riker with no consent from him.
Oh god.
Just because she was so fucking horny, and also to piss Deanna off a little bit unclear. It seemed like a shit move on her part, and I don't like it.
I don't even remember that, but yeah, that sounds shitty.
Yeah, she comes in, she says, oh, everybody, I'm engaged. And everyone's like, yeah, to who? To Riker. And he says, this is fucking news to me, bitch.
Whoa. You said this was no strings attached. I mean, what?
Oh, yeah, dude, Riker totally fucking would.
I don't know if Riker would, because, you know, it's just Imzadi's mom. I think he could keep it in his pants.
Now, his dad might.
Oh, yeah. Well, his dad definitely would. I didn't say which Riker.
It's kind of hot.
How you say that's your ex's mother, huh? Excuse me, son. Dad, no.
Thereby ruining any chance of him and his Imzadi ever getting back together.
A better plot for Star Trek Generations.
I'd watch it.
Oh, my God. And if they had somehow gotten Diana Muldaur back, and it's like this big, crazy love triangle.
That would have been great, but only if it ended in a three-way.
Neat.
I don't want Riker's dad to be happy. He's a jerk.
I want Kate Muldaur and Lwaxana Troi to be happy.
That's fair. They could both do better.
I mean, probably, yeah.
Hot men.
That is a Chrisism. I haven't heard that in a long time, but that is some shit that he used to say a lot.
Still does.
We have had fun. I think we had fun tearing into these terrible episodes and talking about our favorite Trek parent. So what's up next week, though? Well, next week, we're looking at The Catwalk and Dawn Cuts Through Grease, Gentle on Hands. And we're strong enough to save marine animals affected by oil spills. Yeah, little duckies. And then our character next week, we're continuing our major supporting characters trend with Guinan.
Who?
Oh yeah,
Guinan.
Oh, Guinan
with her big hats.
Yes, that's going to be the number one Big hats.
Big hats. So join us for that. To be kept informed of that, follow us on your favorite podcasting application and the Facebook and the Tumblr, which you can access easily through sshbpodcast.com.
Or just click below.
Or just click below. Until then, this has been Chris.
This has been Ames.
This has been Caitlin.
And this is Cyrus Ramsey.
Ramsey.
Oh, good. He's rematerialized.
Return the slab.
All right, shall we do this stupid thing?
Let's dive the fuck in. Hello, Barnabas.
Are you drunk enough to sleep with me yet?
Today.
Answer the question.
This doesn't deserve a bit.
Yeah, it does. Just do the worst porn acting you've ever heard in your life to deliver everything.
No, don't.
Because Queenie was just, I have never seen anything like it.
But I don't have any money to pay for this pizza.
I do have some money, but I left it in the kitchen. Why don't you come in here and get comfortable while I go get it?
Oh no, the
way
pizza's
better
on
acting than what was in the show.
The pizza's on my tits.
I've seen better acting in pornography.
Your dick is in that pizza.
I thought you wanted extra Italian sausage.
So, hilariously, that is the basis of an entire website of porn.
I think we've discussed it before.
Well, can you ever really talk about BigSausagePizza.com enough?
That's a real thing?
Yes.
God.